Cześć, witajcie w kolejnym odcinku podcastu EduCat. Dzisiaj gościnnie w innym studiu. Jesteśmy w Szczecinie, dzień przed naszymi targami zagranicznych uniwersytetów. Odcinek specjalny z udziałem niemieckiej uczelni SRH. I have with me Emil Petkow from SRH University. Emil, great to have you here with us.
Thank you for your invitation. Glad to be here as well.
You're very welcome. We're in Szczecin, not far away from Berlin, where one of the campuses of SRH is. And while we're on the topic of campuses, tell me a bit about the Berlin campus. I know it's new. I was there just last year at the grand opening. Have you already fitted it with all the furniture and the paintings are already done, or are walls still being painted?
Everything is done, and it's ready to welcome the next cohort of students starting in this autumn 25 intake. And I have to say that we're very proud of our campus in Berlin with more than 17,000 square meters. You've been there, you've seen the studios, you've seen the recording, the rehearsal room, the engineering labs, and all these beautiful and brand new classrooms. So definitely excited that you have such an opportunity not so far away from here.
No, it's not very far away at all, and I guess sometimes when people want to come to Szczecin, they fly into Berlin rather than to Szczecin. But you came from Warsaw, right? You came from Warsaw on the flight from Warsaw.
You're right. We are only how many? 20 kilometers away from the border?
I think something like that, yes. from the border. But Berlin is not the only campus that SRH has. You have campuses in several other cities, in Munich, in Leipzig, in Hamburg. Yeah. Are they also as big, or would you say they are slightly more compact and smaller scale?
Yeah, well, we have different sizes of the campuses. Apart from this, I would also mention Heidelberg, because this is actually where the seat of the administration university is, and is also very important. We have there the campus concept, where you actually have all the buildings in one place, plus some sports facilities and stuff. But yes, Berlin is one of the biggest campus of all that we have. The other campuses are maybe a bit more compact, but still very much connected and linked to the local industry.
So we know where Polish students, and not just Polish students, Szczecin is home to a vibrant international community, where potential students can study. Let's chat a bit about what it is they can study. And SRH, of course, offers programs ranging from the business field through engineering, computer science, logistics, supply chain management, communication, music. There's a lot to choose from. What would you say, if you look at the statistics, are the most popular programs among international students coming from abroad to Germany?
Well, I have to tell that obviously a few programs are really one of the top choice for students across Europe, coming from different countries, not only Poland. I would say that computers, engineering, and business are among the top choices. But as you mentioned, we have so many different specializations. So when a young person wants to study, let's say, computer or business, there is a second question about what exactly within business and computers you would like to study. And I'm glad to say that we have different specialization exactly in line with the market demand of professions.
I think the specializations that you mentioned are absolutely key. It might be useful for our listeners, our viewers, to remind everyone that the World Economic Forum projects that 65 to 67% of current primary school students will work in professions and jobs that have not yet been created. Now, this means that universities need to modernize their teaching programs. They need to modernize their degrees, and as is the case at SRH, offer different specializations. How does the correlation between the programs that you offer and the demand on the labor market in Germany look like?
Well, that's a very good question, and I would like to add something else to what you just said. It's also another word, adaptation to needs to adapt, like students, and today's students are tomorrow's workers. So what we're trying to teach is also for them to adapt to the new market reality. So this is reflected in the study materials. This is reflected in the lectures, in the, if you want, professors' background and knowledge, and also the fact that we have a very close connection with industry. So this is how, because we do work in cooperation with the industry, we have a constant contact with them, and we know what kind of things we need to teach the students in order for them to become successful.
And would you say this is one of the major differences between a public state university and a private university in Germany, this connection to the industry, this ability to be a little bit more flexible in terms of the programs that you offer, or would you add some other differences? Because SRH is a private university.
That's one thing, of course, and another thing is also the fact whether we speak about research or applied sciences universities. So the key factor here is also the practical component of the education. So other university could also have good partnerships with the business, but the fact that the applied sciences universities, which we are, include mandatory internship in their program, in all of the programs that we have. So a student could not graduate if they haven't worked at least for 6 months in a company related to what they're studying.
Right. What would you say would be the key difference in the approach to learning and studying at SRH in comparison to other universities? And here, what I really want to ask about is the approach in the sense that programs at SRH are taught in blocks where you have one subject for, remind me, is it 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or is it a longer period? 5 weeks. Yeah. So it's very different to what a high school student is used to. What are the advantages and maybe disadvantages of this approach?
Yeah, so you're referring to our unique core method of education, which is a trademark of our university, for which we actually received a special award for this innovation in teaching style. When we speak of advantages, it's I would say here that by taking just one subject at a time, we remove a little bit of all the stress that students might have when they have to prepare for a bunch of subjects at the same time. The disadvantage is maybe more of a question of adaptation, because they used in a different setting. The students used to study in a different setting, but I think once they come to the university, they will appreciate the fact that they can just decide to focus on one thing for these 4 or 5 weeks, which it's not just teaching, but it also includes the project work, presentation, group work, all this stuff that usually in school, because you have all these subjects, you don't have enough time to leave the kids, the students, to explore a problem and to actually come out with a solution. This is what we try to teach them, to put into practice all the theory they are receiving. So that's the reason behind these 5 weeks, this Lent period.
And does every block after 5 weeks end with an exam? Is it a written exam, an oral exam? Is it a project-based exam? What would you say is the majority of what the students do at the end?
A lot of project work, as you said. So it's not only written exam; it could be all form of exam. And as I said already, we try to have as many practical exams and project-based exams as possible. But of course, some subjects, they have like the general standardized tests, as you know.
But then I guess if someone is like me, who doesn't really enjoy, lots of ABCD multiple choice exams where you just have to memorize different formulas and that's all you do, then I guess this is the right choice, because lots of projects, lots of different presentations, debates, hands-on approach. So students really do apply theory into practice then. I think that is the core.
Exactly.
Right,
exactly.
Okay, so we know where to study, we know what to study. Now I guess the important question that is probably arising at our listeners' heads at the moment is, what do I have to do, or what should I do in order to start studying at SRH? So I mean admission requirements and the application process. Let's take the computer science program as an example. I want to study computing science from September 2026. I'm currently in my final year of high school. What are the next steps?
Okay, so you will be studying in English. So let's say that all the programs that we have at SRH are 100% English taught. We also have programs taught in German, but the majority of students we're meeting are actually interested in studying in English language. A good thing here to start, and I come back to your question, is that students have the opportunity, even if they study in English, to also learn German during the studies. But if they're at the 11th grade at the moment, so the most important thing is to apply for language certificates. So we require 6.5 in IELTS or equivalent, which they need to satisfy by the 12th grade. It's good that at the time of applying, they can just submit the academic transcript from school, and the certificate can be present at a later stage, but before the start of the studies. The second thing that we're looking for, and that's standard admission requirement, is the GPA from school.
Yeah.
So Polish diploma, Polish matura is equally accepted in Germany, satisfies the requirement. 3.0 is the minimum that we require up to the German system. I think in Poland you have 5 is the highest. So
5 at university level and 6 in high school. So it's 1 to 6.
Around 3 maybe.
Around 3, yeah. 2 is the grade that you need to pass an exam. 6 is an exceptional grade. Okay.
So this the GPA is also another, but this is purely to satisfy this admission requirement. But language is also the most important, because imagine you end up in an international environment, you speak and interact with students from different countries, and you have to prepare all your reports and all grades, and you will be studying actively in English.
Sure.
So in case some of the students will see that they will not cope with the English by the time they have to apply, we have foundation program as well. So for students who could not reach up to the level, maybe they have studied another foreign language and they just changed their mind and decided to study in English, we have a solution for them. So it's an extra year before the first year of SRH, which we can offer.
I remember when we had a couple of students from EduCat applying to SRH last year and the year before that. One element in the application was also the CV and motivation letter, but this wasn't for computer science. One was for business psychology and a couple of other programs, logistics. Why do universities abroad, SRH included, do they use a motivation letter in the application process? Why is a motivation letter important?
First of all, we would like to make sure that we have the right profile, the right student coming to us, so that they will enjoy the program to the fullest and the university setting in absolutely fitting their academic and career needs. Because we have students who are mostly interested into the research topic, and some of our programs are not really that much oriented. So it's really important, and I think here you have a great role when talking and counseling students to find their profile, to match the profile that they have, and you can match it with a corresponding university program and degree. So the motivation letter or the motivation interview with our study advisors are really a very important stage of the application, where we see if the student is really keen on and it's the right profile for us. Some of the interviews could be online, some of the interviews could be one by one, some of the programs could just require the CV and the written motivation. No matter, the end goal is just to check that we have the right people coming.
Right. So one final question pertaining to admission requirements. Do you require students to have professional experience by the time they apply, or not?
Well, it depends on the program, actually. I wouldn't say
It's my favorite
professional
answer. It
experience.
depends. It's my favorite answer.
Yes, of course. We didn't mention the creative programs that we have. So for the creative programs, and what I mean by creative programs, we have a program called Brand and Advertising Design, which is much more than just a normal, simple graphic designer. It includes a lot. That's one of my favorite programs. So for this one, we require a portfolio which includes could include brand design, logo design, some drawings, sketches, some concepts that the students might have done.
Can they do this in Canva, or do they need to do it in slightly other programs?
They are open to use whatever they want to present their best work.
Sure.
But you mentioned working experience. Well, it's not really working experience, or if you want, you can call it working experience.
Of course you can.
But to be able to prepare the portfolio, for example, if we speak about the music program we have, or this brand and advertising or animation, you can't just finish your portfolio in the last 2 months before the end of school. So we would expect that students would have been working on their portfolio, and here I mean not the formal portfolio, but the portfolio of skills and mindset and everything that they have at least 2 years before the graduation. So that means that you really need to speak to students earlier, not in the 12th grade. When
you're right, absolutely right. Especially for these specialized programs, you're looking for students who have built up their path towards the program. So in summary, in order to apply to SRH universities for bachelor programs, what you need to do in your final year of high school is you need to submit your transcript of records from the previous academic year. You need to submit your English language test results. Now, preferably this is the IELTS exam, and 6.5, I think you said. 6.5 is the minimum score. You need to write a motivation letter and preferably submit a CV as well. And this is something that we will, at EduCat, of course, help you with at every step of the way. For some programs like advertising and brand design, there's also a portfolio. What's the deadline for applications?
Oh, that's a very good question, and I would like to add a little bit on the portfolio here, because deadline is actually for European students, it's like a rolling admission. So we don't have a specific deadline, especially for European students. It's easy because they don't have visa requirement. They can apply up until we have 3 places in the program. But
the sooner they apply, the better.
The sooner they apply, they have bigger chances of getting admitted soon. And also, if they are applying for a scholarship, we also motivate them to apply as soon as possible. But why they should apply earlier? For some of the programs like music, for example, popular music or classical music or music production, we need students to pass either an admission exam, entrance examination, or admission interview. And the requirement for this is to prepare like 2 pieces of musical songs or something that they have created. And also the admission exams is not happening if in case there is like an admission entrance examination, it doesn't happen every month. So if they want to have a much faster reply and to know if they're accepted or not, they would like to apply as early as possible. As soon as they're in the 12th grade, they can already start the procedures. And very important for the creative program, we cannot start processing the application until we receive the interview. So English exam, you can send later. Final diploma, you can send later. So that's a big difference between our university and others. Some other universities require you to have the diploma before you apply. For us, we can accept academic transcripts. So all these extra things you can add up later, but the portfolio and motivation or interview should take place in the beginning.
So we know where, we know what, we know how. One final question for today, and I think for some this is probably the most favorite question. What can students do after graduation? How does employability look like at SRH? What are some typical jobs that students end up in? I know you will say it depends on the program, but if you could just give us a slight overview. Do they end up in big companies? Do they end up in small scale companies? Do they stay in Germany? Do they go to their home countries?
Well, that's also a good question. I can tell you that we have different options here.
Yeah.
So first thing, we're very proud of our statistics that more than 97% of our graduates find employability after they graduate.
97%?
SRH. Yes.
Wow.
Why is that? Because, as I said earlier, internship is a mandatory part of the program. So we can't have a single student who didn't do an internship work in a company to be able to graduate with a diploma. So once you do like work for 6 months, sometimes they can work more than that, because basically in our programs, which are 3.5 years, 7 semesters, standard length, you have the chance of 6 months of internship and 6 months study abroad exchange, or they can do 2 times internships of 6 months. So you can imagine that you not only have the diploma, but you have at least on average 8 or 9 months of working experience, together with all the knowledge and stuff that they receive from our career services, and the conferences, the links and the connection they can make during their studies. This fits up them with a very good full stack knowledge of getting hired easier. The question about whether they work in a big company or they are like freelancers depends on the program again, and I will explain why. So a student which would study computer science and business administration, of course they have 2 options. Since, for example, and I was speaking at a presentation earlier today about the gap of employment and demand of workers, right now IT, engineering and business are the biggest still subjects of demand, and a lot of professions are in this area. If we take engineering sector, we speak about the big factories and big companies, giant techs. So for this type of students, it's quite likely that they will at least start their careers in a big company.
Sure.
If we speak about business, here it's like maybe 50-50 chance, depends on if they want to be entrepreneurial. And let's not forget that Berlin is a startup hub, really big startup hub. So students can either start in a startup their career, or they can choose to work for big companies like Amazon or Zalando or so many, not to name just a few. Yeah.
By the way, this is not sponsored by Amazon or Zalando. Today's episode.
Not at all. It's just like a statistic. If the students go to see the statistics about which professions are in demand, they will see according to which data it's this done.
So to conclude, it sounds like a fantastic place to study, brand new modern campus, very clear, straightforward admission requirements, lots of programs to choose from, different campuses, international environment, fantastic student life opportunities and great employability statistics like you mentioned. Sounds great to me. What are some final things you'd like to add about SRH? If you could say one sentence about SRH, what would it be? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Okay, well, SRH, our slogan is Design Your Future.
Yeah.
I really like this because that's actually in your hand, and maybe a message to your subscriber, to the young people that are yet to decide what they want to do. I would like to say, just follow your passion, find your passion first, follow your passion, and then, only then, you will be at least 95% sure that you're on the right career path.
And on that positive note, we thank you very much for being with us in today's guest episode here in Szczecin for the EduCat podcast. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much. Very good. Excellent. Well, you got it.
Good. Thank you for the questions.